During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk about controlling grubs and other insects in your lawn.
Well, let's start with the grubs because they are big, and oftentimes what you see out in lawns, especially if you're dry and hot and the grass is under a lot of stress, you'll see some big patches out there just either dying off or looking really sick. What you can do then is just make a little cut in the turf and peel the grass up and look underneath, and if you see big, ugly white grubs there, you've got a real problem.
Now, the issue with grubs is partly that they're doing a bunch of damage to your lawn, but the other part is they invite in other pests that will feed on the grubs. Moles, for example, usually like to feed on grubs, which is great. And you say, oh, that's a natural way to get my grubs under control. But the problem is the moles are going to make a mess out of your lawn. So the way we look at it is, you know what, let's just take care of the grubs, and then the moles are going to leave because their food just left.
Yeah, and you didn't kill any of the moles. They just went to another yard, and maybe you see it right across the fence or right on the other side of the property line.
But as long as they're not on your ground, then who cares?
Yeah,
right?
If they've got food over there, so be it. But with the grubs, here's a couple of things. Imidacloprid works really nicely. That's the same active ingredient that we use on our seed treatment for insecticide to protect against a lot of bugs that might impact crops. If you're using imidacloprid, though, you need to water it in and get it down in the soil right away. So if you've got a lawn sprinkler system, spread the imidacloprid and turn that sprinkler system on and let it run for a long time. We'd ideally like to get an inch of rain to get that to soak in really well.
The great thing with imidacloprid is it is systemic in the plant. So there will be some in the above ground foliage. Now, it's not going to be enough to hurt your animals or anything like that, but it certainly could be enough to impact some above ground pests that we will commonly see, whether that's mosquitoes or ticks or anything like that. But I would say rather than counting on this imidacloprid that's in my ground and now in my plants to get those bugs under control, I'd probably just spray something like Tempo.
Tempo's really nice because it's broad spectrum and it's reasonably safe to pets and to humans. In fact, it's labeled for use inside restaurants and hospitals and houses. So that's kind of a nice thing. You can use Tempo in the yard. You can also spray it inside the house. Now, where I like to spray Tempo for my house is just right on the edges around my garage and around my front door and my back door. That keeps spiders down on the side of my house. It keeps ants from getting inside. It's really been fantastic.
Yeah, also it's going to control grasshoppers and crickets. Again, it does have activity on mosquitoes and ticks and just a lot of different bugs. So Tempo's a great way to go. Foliar, and again, early in the season, I'd probably put out some of this imidacloprid. That's the active ingredient. Products like Merit would have that. But anyway, water that in early, come with your Tempo later on, should be in good shape.
Well, controlling insects in your yard can help you enjoy that yard even more all through the season. And if you have our Weed of the Week out there, you want to get that under control too. We'll show you how coming up later in the show.